Hi, this is Charley Hesse from Tropical Birding, and welcome to this virtual bird tour of Namibia and Botswana. I've guided this tour many times and it's absolutely fantastic. We visit a wide variety of locations, from one of the oldest deserts in the world, the Namib Desert, across to the Kalahari and the Okavango. There's some wonderful regionally endemic birds like this white-tailed shrike. There's some spectacular mammals. It's not a physically difficult tour, it's probably one of the easiest, and in my view it's one of the top countries in the world for wildlife photography. I will be showing some videos of a couple of lion kills and some hyenas at a carcass. If you're a more sensitive viewer, then you may choose to look away. Here's a map of Namibia and Botswana. We start in the capital of Windhoek, then we drive across the escarpment down into the Namib Desert and the Atlantic coast at Walvis Bay and Swakopmund. Then we drive up to the Inselberg of Spitskoppie, then on to the Irango Mountains at Oamaru, up to the spectacular Etosha National Park, one of the top national parks in Africa, and then we finish the tour in the Kavango region of Namibia and the Okavango panhandle at Chikawi. We're going to start the tour in Windhoek, Namibia's capital. It's one of the smallest African capitals. It's a population of just over 300,000. You can drive across it in about 10 minutes. It's quite narrow. It's surrounded by this wonderfully productive dry Kalahari scrub. We're going to visit a birding site there called Avis Dam, and it's surrounded by a very nice habitat and a great place to get to grips with Namibia's common birds. I'll show you a few of them here. This is red-bill francolin, acacia-pied barbet, some nice colourful birds including the swallow-tailed bee-eater and crimson-breasted shrike, and these wonderful white-backed mouse birds sunbathing here. This very distinctive bird, the grey go-away bird, is named after its call, which sounds like go-away. You get this small owl, the pearl-spotted owlet, and imitating this bird often brings in lots of small birds who come in to try and drive it away, like this violet-eared waxbill, black-faced waxbill, and sometimes some more sort of skulking birds like this barred wren warbler. One of our main targets here is going to be the near endemic rock runner. It likes to live in the rocky areas. It's quite difficult to see, but we often can call it in. We may see our first mammals, including this South African ground squirrel and yellow mongoose. Okay, we're going to leave Windhoek and drive west across the escarpment down into the Namib Desert. When we get beneath the escarpment, it starts to get drier and drier as you get towards the coast. Just at the base of the mountains, there's still some grass, and sometimes we see some our first larger mammals like these southern oryx or gemsbok. We may see our first giraffe, and we should see some springbok seen here doing their very athletic pronking leaps. In the late afternoon, we may even see a bat-eared fox. There's some wonderful birds down there as well, including these Rupaul's corans or bustards. And in the drier areas, we may even come across a Burchell's courser. This is a good place to look for common ostrich. Most of the southern African ostriches have been re-released from captive populations which have some hybridization. These are the original wild ostriches and have this very distinctive white legs and white neck. And very interesting plant life down there, including this quiver tree. There's also another wonderful plant called the welwitschia, which is a real living fossil. Down on the coast at Walvis Bay is a wonderful place for waterbirds, shorebirds. These are pied avocets. Also a great place for flamingos. You can see thousands of greater and lesser flamingos. Along the coast there's a nesting platform for cormorants. This was set up to collect guano, the feces from the birds, and it was used as as fertilizer. Okay, near Walvis Bay, we're going to head to the edge of the dune field. It's an amazing place. The dunes historically only occurred south of the Kuiseb River, and although they advance every year, this advance is washed away by the flow of the river, which only happens for a few weeks a year. Because the flow is less now than it used to be, some of these dunes crept across this river and then are now sort of advancing on the other side. Most of the time when we go there, it looks like this. It's sort of like a dry riverbed with some dry plants in it. Some very interesting plants along here. This is one of them, a succulent called the dollar bush. Okay, we get to the base of the dunes, and you can see some of these lower dunes are vegetated. And this is where we look for Namibia's only true geopolitical endemic, called the dune lark. Some other birds we might see around there include this very pale track chat, which is also very well camouflaged. The desert looks pretty lifeless, but it's actually full of life, especially at night. There's some wonderful reptiles there. We went out with a local reptile expert once, and he showed us some really amazing things like this Palmato Gecko, and I took some video of it digging here. They spend the day underground and then come out at night. This is one of my personal favorites called the Perengaze Adder. It hides away. It sort of buries itself in the sand with this wonderful motion here, and just sort of leaves its eyes sticking out, waiting for prey. It's really an amazing creature. Okay, we're going to leave the coast and head inland to this Inselberg, this sort of isolated mountain of Spitzkoppe. We're going to be birding around the base of this, and you can see the vegetation here. It's sort of dotted trees and some low bushes. This is where we look for another one of Namibia's near endemics called the Herero chat. The Herero is the name of one of the tribes in Namibia. On the rock faces, sometimes we'll see mountain chat, and other birds around here we can see are ashy tit, another near endemic, the Montero's hornbill. There's a campsite down here, and the birds have become quite tame, so some of them, like this pale-winged starling, can even perch on your head. Around the rock faces at the top fly these spectacular Varro's eagles, and they feed on these sort of strange animals called the Cape Rock hyrax. It's like a big guinea pig, but it's actually the closest relative of the elephant. Sometimes we may also see these elephant shrews. This is a fairly recently discovered species called the black mongoose. Okay, next we're going to go to the Irango Mountains, and we're going to stay in a beautiful lodge that's sort of built in amongst the boulders. It's a really stunning place. On these rocks sometimes we'll see clip springers, a type of antelope, and around the base Southern Africa's smallest antelope, the Damara dik-dik. Another small antelope we may see is a steenbok, seen here browsing on some acacia leaves. At the lodge they throw seed out for the birds, and in the morning these small mammals also come in. It's called the dassie rat. The Cape Rock hyrax, another name, is the dassie, and these kind of look a little bit like a hyrax. Other birds that come in for the seed are rosy-faced lovebirds. Really stunning bird with these bright green and blue. Some very nice smaller birds as well, like this green-winged petilia. And another restricted bird, the Hartlaub's franklin. That was the male there. This is a female. She's this nice sort of reddish colour. This is a near endemic white-tailed shrike, which is not actually a shrike at all. It's a member of the Batis family and feeds on the ground. Totally unique and very charismatic bird. At night, from the restaurant, sometimes we see this freckled nightjar. And also sometimes we'll have a Cape porcupine coming around the lodge. Okay, from here we're going to drive down and explore a dry riverbed. Although the riverbed is dry, there's some groundwater, and the trees along it get quite a bit bigger, and allows some cavity nesters to make nests in the trees. This is another special local bird called the Rupaul's parrot, and these ones are violet wood hoopoes. They're very social birds, and when they call, it's a bit of a shaky video here, but you can see this very distinctive sort of rocking motion backwards and forwards. Also in the dry riverbed we may see southern pied babbler and the Damara red-billed hornbill. Damara is another of the Namibian tribes. Sometimes also, even during the day, we'll see another large owl, this Varro's eagle owl. Okay, from here we're going to drive up into the Etosha National Park. We use these pop-top safari vehicles with large windows, and from the top you get a real 360 view, so the perfect vehicle for this type of wildlife viewing. We'll be staying at the Okakuyo rest camp, surrounded by a wall to keep out the dangerous animals, and from here we look over a waterhole that has an awful lot of animals coming in, especially at the end of the dry season when we usually visit. And these are plain zebras, more southern oryxes, really beautiful antelope, and often we'll also get families of groups of elephants coming in, which are real fun to watch. Yeah, they often use their trunks to sort of suck up water and drink it or throw it over themselves. These young elephants are a real delight to watch. They're very playful, and even kind of using their trunks as little snorkels. You can see one here having a roll around in the dust after its bath. At the waterholes also we get sand grouse coming in. These come in at very specific times every day. There's one species comes in at dawn, double banded, and then this is in the Makwa, which comes in around 9 a.m. Also in the camp we see a lot of these social weavers, and they make these huge communal nests with little dry bits of grass. Okay, we're going to take a little drive around the area. We may come across our first rhino. Rhino poaching has become a real problem all over Africa, and to combat it they're trying different strategies, one of which is to dehorn the rhinos. So you see this one here has actually been dehorned. We're going to drive north from Okakuyo into a very dry open area where we may see some more springbok. You see here that they're browsing on the acacia leaves. A lot of nice birds up there as well, like this Cory bustard, spotted thickney, double-banded corsa, and the northern black koran. We're going to head to a waterhole on the edge of the Etosha Pan called Okondeka, and there's almost always a family of lions hanging around there. It's one of the few sources of water in the area, so especially at the end of the dry season they don't have to go in search of prey. They can just wait around the waterhole and wait for the prey to come to them. Normally they're just sort of lying around during the day. Sometimes you're lucky enough to see them yawning or walking around, and sometimes you'll see some other more interesting behaviors. With a lot of prey and predators around, of course there's going to be some kills, and the vultures are always on hand to scavenge. You can see a black-backed jackal there also fighting to come in. This zebra was actually not killed by a lion, but it was actually kicked in the head by another zebra. They can be pretty vicious. You see two types of vultures here, the white-backed vultures and the large one at the back, the lappet-faced vulture. There's a spotted hyena coming in here to scavenge. There's a real dominance hierarchy at the scavenging sites, and yeah, this hyena is really at the top of this. So you see, as soon as he comes in, I'll just chase all the other ones away. When he's chasing ones away, other ones will be coming in and trying to sneak a little mouthful while he's not there. Okay, we're going to start driving east. It gets a little bit more wooded, there's more trees, and we're going to go around several water holes looking for different mammals and birds. We should see some giraffes coming in to drink. They've got the very long necks, and yeah, they're going to strike a very distinctive pose to kind of reach the water. Sometimes we'll be lucky enough to see other behaviors, like some fighting. They sort of get alongside each other and then start sort of swinging their necks. You can tell that. There you go. You can tell the males from the females. The males have got sort of the tips to the horns have been worn away, and that's from this sort of repeated striking of their opponents. But yeah, it's really interesting behavior. We may see some more black rhinos coming in to drink. Often in the late afternoon they'll come in, and they're fairly solitary animals unless they have a calf with them. But this is a sort of time when they sort of come across each other, and it's like they get to sort of touch bases with the other rhinos in the area. This is a female with a calf on the right, and I think there's a male on the left, and you can sometimes see a little bit of aggression between them. Yeah, but really wonderful scenes, very atmospheric. If we're lucky, we may even come across a leopard. We had a wonderful sighting a few years ago of one right next to the car, and it even sort of got on its back and started rolling around. But yeah, it's really really beautiful cat. We'll be driving along the edge of the pan, the Etosha Pan, which is it's a huge, like it was almost like an inland sea. But yeah, in more recent years, it does fill a little bit around the edges with water, but not like it used to. And we may see some zebras. You see them some fighting here. I find zebras very photogenic animals, but they're very comical. I'm going to show you a video of a lion kill now, so if you're a more sensitive viewer, you may choose to look away. The background behind this is there's one particular waterhole that has some long grass here, and the family of lions resident here, they like to hide in this long grass and wait to ambush animals that come down to drink. So we had some oryx came down, and they took a drink, and only when this young oryx turned around did this lion finally jump out. It all happened very quickly, so just see what you can see is it chasing the young animal around here, which is still very quick, and just manages to get it on the ground. But to see this kind of thing, you really need to be very lucky. But Etosha is really one of the better places to have a chance. And then you can see all the other lions that were hiding nearby. They all come out, and they all want to get a bit of their fill. Even though these are all in the same pride, they can sometimes get a little bit of aggression here. And it's just amazing how quickly they finish off this carcass. Yeah, it's a very harsh environment. Other predators we may see around here include the cheetah, which is quite rare. Okay, we're going to head further east, and it gets a little. We're going to head into an area of woodland again. This is more of a woodland antelope, the impala. The impalas in Namibia have this very distinctive black stripe down their nose. Some other nice hoofed animals that we may see include the greater kudu and red hartebeest. Once we were very lucky to see some of these fighting. These can also be pretty vicious. These red hartebeest are named because of the shape of their horns. Yeah, and these fights can get pretty intense. The largest antelope, the eland, it's also a good area for that. Of course, with so many herbivores, we're also got quite a good lion population around here as well. Often get them coming in to drink at the water holes. Outside of Etosha, you see quite a lot of warthogs, but you don't see too many inside. And more recently, I saw why this was. I'm going to be showing you another lion kill video again, so some people may choose to look away. We had this warthogs drinking there. One sort of fell into the water, and then this female lion came and sort of fished it out. Really dramatic scenes here. And you'll know the females do most of the hunting, and the males just come and kind of steal it away. So this male just kind of came in straight away and stole it off the female. But yeah, really pretty amazing scenes. With so many lion kills, there's also quite a lot of hyenas around here. There's a lot of nice birds as well, of course, like this lilac-breasted roller. You'll see this tree leaf here. It's almost like a sort of butterfly shape. This is a mopane tree, and in a mopane woodland you get a very distinctive bird community. This is a white helmet shrike and the bare-cheeked babbler, which is quite a rare species. We stay at a camp here called Halali, which is very good birding inside as well. Inside there's a security guard that likes to keep track of owls, and we give him a little tip and he takes us around and shows them us all his owl roosts. This is the African scops owl. There's often a barn owl around in the camp, sometimes during the day, but if not at night, the southern white-faced owl. So yeah, some really nice owls here. Another great animal around here is the rattle or honey badger. We're going to head further east to the eastern side of the park, which is quite different habitat, and you get some different species like this Burchell's sandgrouse, another one that you get coming into waterholes to drink. Another typical bird in the east of the park is a blue crane, with a very isolated population here. Most of these are in South Africa, but just a small flock here in Etosha. Just before leaving the park, on one of my previous tours, we went to a waterhole, and in the early morning we saw a leopard coming in to drink. And after it finished, it started walking away, and a lion was there as well, and this leopard hadn't noticed the lion, and this lion started stalking the leopard. I should explain that the big cats, have an intense rivalry, an intense hatred of each other, and a lion will happily kill a leopard. They don't tolerate them at all. Anyway, this leopard spotted the lion, and then this chase commenced, and you can see them really in full chase mode here. But it was just incredible. The leopard, of course, was very fast and got away safely. But yeah, it was a really amazing scene. Okay, that's the end of Etosha. We're now going to drive up to the Kavango region, just at the base of the Caprivi Strip in Namibia. There we'll do a boat ride. It's wonderful for water birds. Many nice water birds here, like this African openbill. You get water thick-knees, lots of you get yellow-billed storks, African spoonbills, and of course a lot of crocodiles as well, some real big ones. And often when you get close, they sort of start sliding into the water. A big feature here are also the hippos. This area was very affected during the Angola War. And a lot of these were killed, but their population's built back up now, and there's quite a healthy population. The hippos spend most of their daytime in the water, but they're incredibly dangerous mammals. You've really got to have a very healthy respect for them and give them plenty of space. We go a little further along and looking for this special bird here called the rock pratincoll. Other birds we might see along here include the African skimmer. It's got a very unique bill shape. The upper mandible is much shorter than the lower mandible, and they have a very distinctive feeding behavior. They put the lower mandible in the water and they fly along skimming, and when they hit a fish they snap their bill shut. We see some bee-eaters along here, like this white-fronted bee-eater, but the main target along here is a nesting colony of southern carmine bee-eaters. Absolutely stunning birds, and there's a huge colony of thousands. We get very close to these and we can see them really nicely sort of going into their nest holes. Yeah, yeah, there's some wonderful scenes. Sometimes they'll be squabbling with each other and yeah, flying in and out of their holes. But yeah, really amazing opportunity. We often moor the boat very close to the site, and you can get really nice photographs. Yeah, absolutely stunning birds. Sometimes when a boat goes by, all thousands of these fly out at the same time and just fill the sky with this just sort of clouds of red. And it's also a wonderful opportunity to try and get flight shots as well. So really one of the highlights of the tour. On land nearby, there's also some very interesting birds, including this very localized Sousa's shrike. It's one of the top birds in the region. The camp we stay in is also very good for owls. We can see yet another owl species, the African barred owlet. And at night there's a pair of African wood owls there. Sometimes you'll see other mammals too, like this lesser bush baby. Okay, we're gonna carry on our trip, and we're gonna go through a nature reserve called Mahango, which is on the Kavango floodplain. The Kavango River forms a border between Angola and Namibia for quite a way, but then it changes course and heads south towards Botswana. There's a few giant baobabs here, which are really spectacular to see. And there's some really interesting mammals, some rare hoofed animals like these roan antelope, and the closely related sable antelope, which is really one of the most beautiful antelopes in the world. And a lot of these come down in the middle of the day to drink. Another antelope found here is the southern reedbuck. And there's also a healthy population of Cape buffalo here. Okay, we're going to cross the border into Botswana, and we stay at a lodge near the town of Shakawe. We also do a lot of boat rides here, and it's a great place to see some really big crocodiles, real monsters, up to, over 4 meters long, but like really wide as well. And these are quite a danger to humans, and they often take locals that are fishing or washing clothes by the edge of the river, but we're pretty safe in our boat. There's also a great place to see African fish eagles. The boatman will often buy a fish from a local fisherman, and they've sort of trained the eagles to come down and catch these fish. So he'll wait till you've got your camera pointing at the spot, then throw the fish in, and then they'll come down and snatch it out of the water. A lot of other good birds around here to see. Nice opportunity for birds in flight, like this wattled crane, Goliath heron, black heron. We explore the floodplain here as well, and this is one of the special birds here, the slaty egret. Another floodplain specialist is the long-toed lapwing. These are very common. This is an African jacana, and the rarer Allen's gallinule. This is little bittern, another rare heron. And this is a super rare heron, and the boatmen often have a stakeout for these. These are a nocturnal bird, the white-backed night heron. There's also some wild elephants here. These are not behind fences like in most places, so they do come in contact with people. But there's an awful lot of reed beds and long grass, so a lot of food for them. And we watch them from the safety of the boat. They're very good swimmers. They happily swim across these channels. Yeah, wonderful animals to see. It's a very nice place to photograph kingfishers, like this pied kingfisher, malachite kingfisher, really beautiful little bird, and a huge giant kingfisher. The main target here, though, is the huge Pell's fishing owl. It's one of the top birds in Africa, a huge orange-coloured bird. The boatmen often have them staked out. But a wonderful end to a really amazing tour. Many thanks for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.